NBS Frontline.
A very good evening and welcome to this edition of the Frontline. This Thursday, the 21st November 2019. The year is really closing now, and but the Frontline doesn't close. So we're going to be discussing yet another edition in this Frontline. But as always, we start with the trigger.
Frontline.
Update.
Last week, Kampala Capital City Authority Council declined the reading of the KCCA budget for the financial year 2020-2021 on grounds that the acting executive director's term of office had expired and no extension had been made. To Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago, there is more to the budget than what meets the eye, and this is being influenced by KCCA Minister Betty Kamya.
Betty Kamya made a promise to Mr. Museveni that, look, I'm going to turn around Kampala politically into your favor. And she's scratching around. She's day, night looking, getting strategies on how to turn Mr. Museveni's political fortunes in Kampala, turn them around. She's hitting a dead end. Now, what she's doing right now is to use the budget as a tool of raising funds, which is going to be dished out to the people here to buy people in Kampala. And they want to use Mr. Chitaka, the unfortunate man. He's a very humble man. He's a gentleman. He's a very good man. But we want to use him, and we don't want that to happen.
Lukwago maintains that the Chitaka saga is Betty Kamya's making to foster fights between the political and technical wings. Lukwago also accuses Betty Kamya of quietly manipulating the KCCA budget to siphon money for the ruling NRM to fund its electoral activities, something the political leadership at KCCA was not going to allow.
This regime wants to siphon off, and we are resisting. We are saying, don't use KCCA as a conduit to channel your campaign money through KCCA.
But the man at the center of the controversy, Engineer Andrew Chitaka, is not moved by the developments at City Hall, insisting business will move on as normal, with or without the extension.
This is a matter that is being resolved. Right now, services are continuing to be provided. I am sitting in this position as accounting officer, and of course, I'm still waiting for the appointing authority to do the substantive appointment.
As the two elephants at KCCA begin another round of fighting over the appointment of the executive director, public services cautiously observing the developments, preferring to take a neutral stand.
Mr. Chitaka has substantive appointment which hasn't expired. This was just assignment as acting ED, but he's a director, and his contract as a director hasn't expired yet, so he's in office.
NBS Frontline.
Welcome back from that trigger, and this is the Frontline. Let me start straight away by introducing the panel here. Starting with the guests, we have Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago. He is in the house. We have former minister, former member of SEC, Captain Francis Babu. He is in the studio. We have Jotham Taremwa, EC spokesperson, in the studio. And we have the Frontliners, -1 today. OO is in the house. Mr. Ofonopondo is Executive Director of the Uganda Media Center. He is a frontliner. And the Honorable Proscovia Salam Musumba, who is the Vice Chairman of the FDC and Prime Minister of the People's Government. Gentlemen and lady, you're most welcome. We have a civil servant in the house, so one topic is both technical and political, but he can handle. But the other topic is more political, so we shall leave that to the OOs and the Lukwagos to fall in the mud of politics. But so we'll need to start with the one which is more apolitical, the EC. Jotham, I'll start with you. You are doing a lot of things now. Some people are even, a number of Ugandans are even asking what is going on exactly that KCC is doing. EC, not KCCA. There is KCCA man in the house, so excuse my but he's smart, not intimidating though. The EC, you're doing so many things, carrying out a lot of exercises. Start us off. What are you exactly doing and how beneficial is it that the update is going on, the demarcation, which is which, and how can Ugandans participate?
Thank you, Charles. If you recall, late last year, the Electoral Commission launched the roadmap and the strategic plan, and we invited all our key stakeholders at Hotel Africana to release that roadmap, which contained the key milestones, the 2020-2021 general elections. One of them was the demarcation of electoral areas and reorganization of polling stations, which we covered. We shall have the reorganized polling stations published in the local newspapers and also have it uploaded on our Electoral Commission website. When we finished with that, we went down to the villages and subjected our register to the village leaderships, the village council, to one, verify and see if there are people who are not supposed to be on that register in their respective villages, and if they still existed on the register, but also capture data on the people with disabilities in villages. When we concluded that exercise and concluded the capture of reorganization returns, that paved the way for the update of the National Voters Register. So the exercise that started today and we launched today at the Electoral Commission, one is to enable Ugandans who have never registered to vote, but they have attained the voting age to turn up and apply for registration and inclusion on our National Voters Register. Secondly, there were learners who were registered in 2017, and by that time they had not yet turned 18, so they have NIN numbers, the national identification numbers. But some of them are 18 by now, or they are going to be 18 between now and the 11th of December. So this is an opportunity for those learners who have turned 18 or are yet to turn 18 between this period to also come and register for inclusion on the National Voters Register. The other objective is I could have voted at NBS polling station because I was working at NBS polling station and it was convenient for me. But now I work in Tororo, meaning that I will not come back from Tororo to come and vote from NBS polling station. So this is the window for the transfers. If you want to transfer to your preferred voting location, other than the one you voted from the other time, it is an opportunity for you to participate in this exercise between now and the 11th of December. It is taking place in our respective parishes. And as we speak now, we have over 10,000 parishes in the whole country. So beginning today, up to the 11th, the parishes will be busy, our officers will be on the ground. We invite the leaders, the political leaders, the religious leaders, and different leaderships to mobilize the population so that they participate in this process and at the end of the day be on the register to exercise their right to vote or to be voted for.
A quick clarification when I get on what I get from that. You're going to register people like right now, probably 17 years, some 16 towards 16 and 9 months thereabout. Will you conduct another cleaning exercise just in case some of them have passed on?
We are not going to register people of 16 or 17. We are looking at people who registered when they were maybe 17 or 16, but as of now, they have gotten into the 18 age bracket. So those are the people we are registering. By then, they were not yet 18, but by now, they are 18. Now, after this update, after we have received all the applications for inclusion on the register, applications for transfers. We shall now withdraw at the end of the period and capture that data at our headquarters. And then we produce a register that is as a result of update. Now, sometime in February to March, I think February 19th to somewhere in March, we shall again now take that register to the polling stations. And we shall publicize that process as well. Call on the citizens to come at their respective polling stations and verify if their applications were honored, or if there are people still on our register and they are not supposed to be there. So we shall have that display. But even after that, we have another supplementary display, because when you come and say Charles is still on the register, but he's not supposed to be on the register. So we will get that application of people who should be excluded from the register, pin it up for another 10 days, waiting for people to agree or disagree with the proposal. So the cleaning process will be on and is continuous until the end of the supplementary display.
Okay. Let me now come to the persons who seek for offices, starting with the Honorable Lord Mayor. Do you think that this exercise, as is being done now, is transparent enough to meet the standards of a good process started?
Not at all. One, there are legal foundations upon which this exercise must be based. And these foundations have not been respected. Starting with Article 61, which clearly states the mandate of the Electoral Commission. They are supposed to compile, maintain, revise, and update the voters' register. There are 4 key elements: compile, maintain, revise, and update. This suggests that it has to be a continuous exercise. It's not this mass registration with strict timelines. I can see now they are saying 21 days. And 21 days for display are supposed to be for people to cross-check with the register and see this and that. On a daily basis, there are people who are entering within that bracket who are clocking 18, and they are becoming eligible. So why wait for mass registration? You know these mass things, mass immunization, mass registration, mass weddings, those ones are not envisaged under the law. So you need to revisit that. Secondly, and most importantly, we go back now to the constitution of the Electoral Commission, which is charged with the duty of carrying out this very important exercise. We have serious legal issues with the way the Electoral Commission is currently constituted, starting with the office of the Chief Executive. That is the Secretary himself. He is illegally in office, Mr. Lukwago. So you cannot embark on this very important exercise when his hold on to the office is illegal. You recall he came into office in 2001 after being forwarded by Sechukubo. In Rwemiyaga. So he stayed for a long time. And in the 8th Parliament, we raised the issues and said, no, if the tenure of office of the members of the commission, including the chairperson, is limited to 7 years, how can we have the chief executive who stays there permanently? We must have limits. So in 2010, we amended the law to say the person holding the office of the Secretary Electoral Commission shall be there for 5 years. And that term is renewable only once you go. It's like in the case of the chairperson and the members of the commission. You hold office for 7 years, renewable once, and you go. Now, Mr. Lukwago was appointed on 23rd of September 2009. That's when his contract was renewed by the then chairman of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Badiru. Then we came into the new legal regime. His contract again was renewed on 23rd September 2014. He served 1 term under the new legal regime. Once it was renewed, it was supposed again to expire, and it expired on 23rd September 2019. Now you ask him, in which capacity is he carrying out this exercise when his contract expired? and the law does not allow a renewal. That is, the second one is the chairman himself. The chairman has also breached the law. I'll read this one specifically, the Constitution. You will come to Article 60, Clause 5. It says, a person holding any of the following offices shall relinquish his or her position in that office on appointment as a member of the commission. A, if you're a member of parliament, once you are appointed to the commission, you relinquish your seat. 2, a member of local government council like myself. C, a member of the executive of a political party or political organization. Or D, a public officer. And it is in this category where he falls.
As a judge?
As a judge. You go to Article 257, the interpretation provision which talks about, which defines a public officer. Any person, actually specifically they mention a judge of a high court justice, justice of the Court of Appeal, justice of Supreme Court, a high court judge is a public officer. There are those who in the category that is exempt from that, but a judge. So, as we talk right now, my good friend and my brother, I hold him in high esteem, I respect him very much, Justice Biabakam. He is still a substantive justice of the Court of Appeal. He has not relinquished that position. So he's holding 2 public offices illegally. So you cannot expect such people, the chairman violating the law, the secretary himself illegally in office, carrying out a legitimate and lawful exercise.
Have you challenged this in court?
You see, all this, we do our best to, because litigation is also, taking a toll on some of us, but it's one matter we are also undertaking. Because we're not seated, we are exploring that.
Okay. I wanted to bring in Honorable Babu. Jotham, do you want to respond to some of these issues, specific issues raised?
I wanted to help the Lord Mayor. It is one thing to get to the microphone and address the public and use serious arguments when actually you are very wrong. For the case of the chairperson, I think somebody went to court. I wish I was at liberty to comment on it.
Is it still before court?
Yeah, so
it's still
I
before
saw
court.
It in the papers, and I'm surprised that the land senior counsel here is commenting on an exercise. On an issue, he very well knows that it is somebody went to court.
Who went to court? And
but for Mr. Sam Lukwago, and I'm not speaking as a politician, I'm speaking as the spokesperson of the Electoral Commission. He has a running contract. He's not in that office illegally. Please check your facts.
The 2 terms expired.
And you people are leaders. Please give us right information as people you lead. But when you get to national television, and you are Lord Mayor,
but I've given you these facts.
and you really allege, and you were lawyer, you were Lord Mayor, you were leader, and you allege something that is not true.
When is the contract?
I've given the position of the law and the dates when the contract
That's
expired.
not true. That's not true, sir. Yes. Please verify. Electoral Commission is very near. It is not far away from your seat. Verify and confirm what you are saying. I can confirm that Mr. Lukwago is in that office legally and his contract is running in accordance with the law.
From when to when?
I thought the issue was whether he's there legally or illegally, or whether he has a running contract or not. I think I've clarified.
But you owe us
Captain Babu, Wayne, starting with the process that is going on by Electoral Commission, is it fair in your estimation and some of the issues that the two gentlemen have?
Under the circumstances, whether you like it or not, the Electoral Commission has to have a process and they must have a roadmap going towards 2021. Now, the small little things that we're talking about, I'm sure there are a lot of flaws. If this is perfect, then I'll be very surprised. They are going to have a lot of flaws. And these are the flaws we have to talk about. I've just had a few laws being quoted and so on and so forth. If some of them are actually true, then they should be put right. But whether they should stop and clean the floors first, I don't think that's correct. I think they should have a roadmap, and the roadmap should start running, and they should now think about the comments which have been made. Should we have a mass registration, or should we do it continuously? There's a lot of things that have not gone right. For example, we should have had a continuous civic education.
Yeah.
It is in the Constitution. That we should be having civic education continuously and not wait until the election to have a voter's education. Because what we are having now is a voter's education. Now, I disagree.
But can you add that civic education is not the role of Electoral Commission?
No, Electoral Commission triggers it.
Civic education, I thought, Electoral Commission does voter education, as I understand it, and civic education is the role of Uganda Human Rights Commission.
That's correct. Yeah. But you see, they work together. They work together.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's basically about elections. Now, these are the flows you're talking about. In a system, it doesn't matter which country, there's bound to have flows.
True.
The question is whether the Electoral Commission should, through its rightful ministry, which is political, get these facts and start doing them so that they reduce the kind of comments that come out of people and create, and I think this is the most important, they should create confidence in the process. In the process. They should create confidence in the people themselves. They should create confidence in the leaders, if you like. Now, this is the job that they should be doing instead of us having a lot of ping pong. But let me assure you, there is no system that does not have flaws. There isn't. Even our neighboring countries where they say they had an independent electoral commission, eventually flaws came out. What we need to do, these flaws, is to try and find out how we can sort them out so that we can continue. But this process has to go. Whether it is mass, if they have failed to do it using a rhythm of some sort, then they should do it mass, but they should now fall into the rhythm of doing it even after these elections. Now, my worry is, you talked about 18 years a few minutes ago, remember? There are kids who are going to be 18 just before the elections.
Yeah.
Now, if you say you register now and after that there will not be any registration, what happens to those?
Exactly.
Now, that's another question one has to ask. The other rather very important question, and this worries me a little bit, when my friend was doing a submission, he talked about, if I work in NBS and this is my polling station, this is where I vote, I get a bit worried there because I'm told you register where your domicile is or where you originate from. Now, has the working come in now? Because I don't know.
Where you originate?
Or where your domicile. Yeah. Now, you said where you work. A few minutes ago, when you were giving your submission, if I work in NBS and this is my polling station, my worry, and the reason why I brought up work is purpose. I've got a purpose behind it. Kampala, the majority of people you have registered do not reside, nor are they originally from those areas. And we're going to have and we still have a very big problem.
Including those in the State House.
I don't care where they are, but all I'm saying is that we're having a very big problem, and we have LCs that claim to be LCs, but somebody lives a few miles outside Kampala, and during the day he's an LC chairman in Central Division. Now, this, in my opinion, where people work and where people reside, or their domicile,
are two different things.
Are different things, and eventually where they originate. I have no problem with all it. But I don't mind if they wanted them to be registered where they work.
Maybe
but let's make it a law.
For clarity,
yes.
Thank you for raising it. My estimation was that if I work at NBS, probably I live near NBS. Okay. But the principle is you are either a resident in that place or you originate from that place. Thank you for raising it.
Yeah, because those are the flaws. By the way, I don't think I should hold you responsible. I think the whole point is that we must clean it up. We all make mistakes, and by the way, if you don't correct those mistakes as you go along, they pile up.
Yeah.
And eventually bring
that very important issue.
Yes, please.
And I think it is him who moved that amendment to the law when he was still in Parliament, Honorable Babu here. And it was a Kampala law. That problem has lingered on for some time. To say that people should only register from their places of origin or where they reside. It's not sustainable, it's not tenable. And that's why, even in the amendment in 2010, we pushed for the amendment to say you allow people to register from their places of work. Honorable Babu never wanted people in Nakasero Market, for example, to vote from there. Or Owino Market. He would always ask you questions. Who resides in that market? Owino Market, for example. There are over 70,000 people who work from that place. Or Nakasero, for that matter. But for him, he's saying, no, they shouldn't vote from there. But since they are Ugandans, with the national IDs, what would stop them? What mischief is there for them to register from their places of work? Why? Why shouldn't they?
You know, I like double standard. This is a man who claims to be a lawyer. He goes to court every day. He says, the law is very clear. It says where you reside or where. And then it's not Captain Babu. And this is where you people, you like to smear other people all the time. That's wrong. That was the law which was brought to us, and that was what was passed in Parliament. Now, if you want people who work, and I remember I said it earlier on, if we want our people who work to vote where they work, then please make it in the law. In the law. Put it in the law. Then
I brought the amendment in 2010, which they opposed.
Yeah, and then make sure they only register where they work. Because the problem will be, and this is where my legal expert comes in, there are people here who vote in their place of domicile, and they come and vote in town also. And they have two identity cards. Now, these are the kind of problems we face when you have this situation. Okay. And I don't mind the Electoral Commission, if they are kind enough, let them amend the law and say where people work.
Okay.
And then find a way to control it. Because that's where the problem is going. How do you control it?
Honorable Salam, your take on the discussion.
Well, Captain Babu here raises issues of the integrity of the electoral process. And I think technology has transcended those limitations that were feared at the time when the law was being made. Since you cannot double vote, I think it's redundant to tell me where to vote, because I'll vote once. And that's what matters. Where I choose is my business. And so if technology has transcended all that, I think some of these provisions, they're moribund, and therefore we should move with the times. And the effort is to make sure that we truly move with the times. The software issues are still lingering with them, the Electoral Commission. And I would have wanted to know, before you take us into update and all that, where are we with software? That is the crux of the matter, the software that we are going to use in the elections to make this election an exercise that is believable. These are the issues that they never talk about. We go back into the raw analog, register, go back to your village, do this, it's such. I think we have capacity. You must have built an electoral infrastructure that works 24/7 all year round. Because you have a huge budget of only papers. Papers upon papers upon papers. I think their budget has gone up maybe 100 times.
He's here, he will tell us.
So I had between Akabrai and them.
Between 1996.
Because you got to track what has happened over the years and whether we are getting any improvement. The elections are getting worse by the day. But Akabrai, with his minimal budget, gave us the best election we will ever have. Yeah. And so you keep asking. They gave us slips, pass slips. I'm told that was someone's pocket money. These slips that they gave us on the eve of election as locator slips. I mean, what were they doing with locator slips? But because it has become a money-making venture, it is not questionable. It is made to look like it is what makes Uganda a Uganda. That's a part of our sovereignty. The other matter that concerns me is how the LC1 chairman or his committee validates a register. I mean, where in the law? I need help. These LCs who went packing with the registers in their houses to delete, our suspicion is that they went deleting everybody of us who does not subscribe to steady progress. And so it is questionable, just the starting point is questionable. The timing, the fellows they've given our register to deal with, because this is an independent electoral commission. They have developed an electoral infrastructure over the years. That's why we took out the cows. They were called DES. We took them out. The district executive secretaries, we took them out of the electoral process and we put returning officers. And now they are going now to LCs. I mean, you create doubt in my mind and in everybody else's mind.
Information about the point of law.
Yes.
Section 23 of the Electoral Commissions Act of 1997 clearly states that it is the district registrar who should be in custody, charge and control of the voters register, no one else. And in amendment, they want to change the nomenclature from district registrar, the proposed amendment,
yes,
to district administrator.
And so then there's no chain of command, there's no thread there, there's no connection between the registrar, and at times they're using the registrar, at times they just don't know what they are creating. Okay. The other thing, and I get angry, why? That a person tells us that they registered learners. Was it you who registered learners? Because you see, people mix up processes. Because if learners were captured on a different platform, they want to infect the register with learners. I want the Electoral Commission to treat all of us who are on the register as citizens. The deciding age is 18. It's not about learners. Please don't put in too much English to mean nothing. Your mandate is to find us at 18 and get us on the electoral register. Whether you registered me in prison or where, as long as I come of age, that is what is required. And so these guys are really not up to the job.
Okay.
And
the budget doesn't even help out in this.
Okay. I want to bring in OO.
There was one point which was made,
which one?
I did not agree.
I'll come back, but let me bring in OO. OO, integrity, flows have been mentioned. What do you think that the Electoral Commission in the current configuration can do better than this gentleman and lady alleging or even accusing them of?
You know, it is very surprising. The people who argued that we needed a lawyer who qualifies to be a High Court judge to be the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, the ones who struggled that we take out Aziz Kasuja and Akabwai, are now saying, and the engineer Chubundu, are now saying that a person who has been a Court of Appeal judge, or still is, as in Lukwago's word, does not know the law. So it is surprising, and I think we need either Lukwago's being mischievous intentionally to a political end, or he doesn't know what he's saying.
Read the provisions of the Constitution.
Now,
challenging me with your version.
First of all, the debate by Honorable Lukwago and Honorable Musumba is as if they're debating in anticipation of the law that should govern the election. we have the laws that govern the election. And I think that's how we should be debating, basing on the existing law. What does the existing law say? First of all, who qualifies to be registered as a voter and therefore be entered in the National Voters Register? You must be a citizen of Uganda of 18 years and above. What is the proof currently that you are a citizen of Uganda of 18 years and above? We passed a while back the registration of persons, I think, citizens, under the NIRA law, and therefore you need to have registered under NIRA. If we have problems that the register of NIRA is not good enough, I think we can go back to Parliament and make amendments. But currently, the basic test for somebody to qualify to enter the National Voters Register is, one, you must have a national ID, or you must provide your national identification number, NIN. And so if you don't have NIN, meaning you have not registered, therefore you cannot be entered into the National Voters Register. That's the basic minimum. Is that the best thing we can have? I think we can do better. The second one is, should the Electoral Commission do the registration as an independent, or should it work with other bodies? I think because of the resource constraint, money, and even personnel, we need to integrate government systems because they all serve one purpose. They serve Ugandans. Do you have all the money for the Electoral Commission to hire all the officials throughout the year to do the registration as Lukwago would want? Certainly, no, we don't have. Do you have technology? Yes, we do have technology. And perhaps that's a question that the Electoral Commission can answer. 2 years ago, why didn't they explore the possibility of Ugandans interested in registering as voters to register online, so that the registration is continuous, particularly for those who are able to register online, so that mass registration of 15 days is dealt away with, or is avoided altogether, or minimized. So I think that's a question the Electoral Commission can respond to, why they have not explored the possibility of Ugandans with the NIN going on the portal and register. And they indicate to you which polling station they would want to be placed. I think that's a valid criticism that we can put. But with the comments being made, even if the chairman of the Electoral Commission had actually resigned, but remember also we have a law which governs the appointment of judges, that when you are appointed a judge, you serve for life. Yes, you serve until a certain age. You serve until in retirement age, which is 70. I suspect for the Court of Appeal, for the Court of Appeal, I suspect that it is that seeming lacuna that perhaps a person appointed a judge, and then later on deployed at the Electoral Commission, or in the as the Inspector General of Government, they continue to hold the title of judge. But also there's the human factor, that supposing my contract is not renewed, yes, Kisogari, I should be able to go back. I should be able to go back to the judiciary, where I have security of tenure. I suspect there's that lacuna, but also the human element. No lacuna. And I think we need to deal with that. And I hope the petition before the law is clear. Well, even if the law is clear, you may say the law is clear, but the reason.
How did it happen in the case of Justice Mulyagonja, who is serving as IGG?
What I've read is about There is a commission. Yes. Okay. Because the commission must be
where there is a limitation or a bar to public service.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Oh.
Under our constitution, the only institution mandated to interpret the law
is the constitutional code.
Is the constitutional
so
code.
You
it is not
him to 137.
It is not Lukwago. Yes, you may have your interpretation of the law, but what does the constitutional court say on that particular matter?
But for purposes of our discussion here, he can analyze using the law.
Yeah, he can analyze.
And that is what he's doing.
Well, the law is an as you know, as you lawyers say. The law is an as.
There are so many centers with powers to interpret the law, including the attorney. Look at Article 119. You are representing government here.
But the only interpretation that we take as valid that binds us is the one that comes from court. For the time being, yes, the government officers can take the interpretation of the Attorney General, but the interpretation of the Attorney General can be challenged in court. And so the only valid one is the ruling, the findings of court. And that's why I'm telling you.
But anyway, the binding one.
Yeah, the binding.
Yes.
Yes, the binding.
But my individual interpretation is valid. It may not be binding.
Well, if it was valid, it would be what you would be ruling in this case. But the point I'm making is, even if you had the best of laws and the best of human beings, Mr. Lukwago would still dispute the processes that are going on, because you have had him using words like it's supposed to be continuous. Yes, if the Electoral Commission does not have all the resources, what is the best option for them? The best option should be to do a timetable and schedule certain important activities. Achieve them, and have a cutoff. Is it a good idea to have a cutoff? Let us look at other jurisdictions. Even the countries that we think have a lot of money, United States, they have cutoff points for people to register as voters. They have cutoff points for people to register as candidates. And I think it is a good practice to have cutoff, because if we don't have cutoff, the same Lukwagos will come and say, why are you registering people 24 hours to voting? Because there are people who are going to turn 18 24 hours before polling.
Yes.
So how would you deal with that situation? So therefore, the cutoff time is certainly necessary. Is it transparent? I think for the time being, considering our circumstances, it is transparent. Okay. Is this challengeable? And as Jotham has said, this is the first major registration, particularly of new voters. Secondly, it gives opportunity to people who want to cross-check whether their particulars have mistakes.
Okay.
Three, it gives opportunity for people who want to make choices. For example, even in the case, I don't think we need even to amend the law to allow people to vote from where they work. If indeed I think that the current law says I should vote where I register, rather where I come from,
where you are born,
where I'm born, or where I reside. Mm-hmm. Those are two good options that I should make a choice. Mm-hmm. In my case, I've made a choice that I will go back to Mulanda, and that's where, because that's where I'm born, I must find good candidates there.
Okay.
To support. So the same Lukwagos would accuse the Electoral Commission, why are you having people registering 24 hours or 12 hours, because there are people who are turning 18 in any case. And so the fourth issue is it gives people opportunity. Those who want to transfer, who want to make choices where they want to go.
Okay.
And finally, there is going to be time to display, so that any of us who have disagreement with the register of our places or any other place, we can raise those objections, and the Electoral Commission, together with the other stakeholders, can make correction.
Okay.
It would be unfortunate.
I think before Jotham comes,
perhaps
always try to vulgarize.
Perhaps would have a valid argument if this was the final one, and the Electoral Commission was not going to have display perhaps until mid of next year.
Okay. No, he's taking my argument outside the context. You see, I didn't talk about the cutoff. That's a given. There's no problem with the cutoff, because I don't also wish to submit that one can register even on the polling day. That would be stretching it to an absurdity. But the point is about, my complaint is about mass registration. Mass registration is not envisaged under the Constitution.
Your argument is that according to the Constitution, it's supposed to be incremental on what we already have, and, yes. And revising, updating.
Maintain, revise, update, and yes, those 4 elements.
Jotham, respond to those specific issues, but especially...
I had said I wanted to say something. I don't think a register is moribund. I disagree with my sister. A register is an important document, and in fact in Kenya, recently when they had this problem of the so-called modern computers, and which they had in America with the Russians in these modern computers, my dear, even modern technology has flaws.
Okay.
Let us be very careful when we use these nice words, moribund and what.
Sir.
No. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Sir.
When you are talking, I talk. No.
Don't paraphrase me.
No.
Use your own argument.
No, I'm saying that when I talked about registration, and the registration is extremely important, whether manual, whether electronic, it's extremely important. But when you turn around and you claim that when people talk about getting things right, that this is system because of modern technology, and I've heard about computers and whatnot. Mr. Dong, I started using computers when I was flying aeroplanes before they even came to the public. I know how computers work. All I want to say is that computers are good, but the computers must be controlled by the people, and we must have a fallback position whenever the computers go wrong. And I can assure you, we have got proof, very good proof, that computers in elections have let us down, and computers in election have been misused. Okay. So they are also very, very dangerous.
But that argument is self-defeating, yes. Because I remember when they were introducing this new voters register with photographs, they retired the old one.
They did.
And we opposed it. They considered it moribund and retired it. We said, no, you cannot retire a voters register.
You can migrate.
You can migrate.
I think you are also misrepresenting his views. I think I got him right.
He's
saying we can have both. You will have a register within the computer, but still have a hard copy. In case there is a problem with the computer, you have a fallback, plan B. And we saw it, he even mentioned examples. But let me get to...
Those were tampered with. They were intentional. It was not the fault of the computer, it was fault of the human being managing the computer. And there can be tamper-proof if you want to.
And my
so
brother,
where will humans go?
My brother, lastly, one point I want to make. If 1 or 2 or 3 LC1s make mistakes, it's not all LC1s. I've been hearing this complaint for many years.
Well, maybe they don't have LC1s.
But if you took a percentage of the number of LCs we have in this country, and those that have made mistakes, in terms of percentage, they are not even 10%.
So,
therefore, you cannot turn around and say all LCs, they cannot do this work.
But LCs are politicians. They are politicians. They are candidates.
Now I'm going to come back to
be in charge of an electoral process.
Can we now do this? Can we now do this?
In other fora, that they have the largest support in the LC1. So if they are your supporters, why would you have worries that they will tamper with
my friend?
Okay.
If they are our supporters,
they are
Lord Mayor.
Lord Mayor. They are not supposed to.
Lord Mayor. Yes. Let's have let's have now an organized discussion.
This
Let
is very organized, my friend.
Let Jotham respond to some of the issues you raised, and then I'm going to give you more opportunities to then cut into his.
Thank you, Charles.
Yeah.
I want to appeal to.
Start with the specific question of the Lord Mayor of.
I'm going to answer them.
Compiling, maintaining,
I want to request
revising.
that we don't make the public lose the gist of this discussion. The need for
the
people to go and check whether they appear on the register or transfer. I think that is the gist of this discussion.
But for an advert on NBS.
Protect me, Charles.
You're protected. Let me know, please, first. Don't echo.
I want to dispel any fears that any of us here can vote twice. We can never. The computers are talking to each other all over the country. So if you register here at NBS and you think you want to be smart and you go and register at TV West in Barara, the computer will delete you at the first point of registration and keep your name at the last point of registration. Secondly, we have the
That's the system you have.
we have the biometric voter verification. So it can't allow you, if you go and try to put in your thumb and you are at a wrong polling station, the computer will tell you, sorry, this is a wrong polling station for you. Secondly, I didn't understand when Honorable Salam Musumba said software has issues. We have a software for voter verification. We have a software for voter registration. We have a software for tallying. We have a software for transmission of results. So I don't know which software she's talking about that has issues. Maybe she will let us know. She also said, instead of improving our register, we are going down. And that is not true. If all of us were old enough, in mid-90s, we had 100 register. We graduated from that register and went to a...
Handwritten.
Yes.
Ink.
Get a pen and register people on a piece of paper, and those are voters, and that's a voters register. Yes, we had it. We had it. That's where we started from. Then we went to the typewriters.
And the board was president then.
We went to the typewriters. This history is available, Honorable.
He said 19 what?
1993-94 C election.
I was on CA.
Let me finish.
Lies.
Let me finish. Please engage your memory. You will recall that.
No. I was a candidate in the CA.
Then we
elections,
graduated from a handwritten register
This
to a register where
rich.
typewriters were typing people's names. We graduated from that to the computers now. We graduated from that to now having a register with a photograph. We graduated from that, now we have a biometric, a register with your biodata. So really, all those indicate that there is progressive improvement in our national voters register. She criticized the issue of voter location slips. How we came up with these slips? After reorganization of polling stations, where some stations are merged, others are split, others are relocated, others are created. On the day of polling, it was an inconvenience to the voters who didn't participate in the display or update. They would come to this polling station only to realize that actually they appear on a different polling station. So as a commission, we sat and said, well, in order to help the voters, to remove this inconvenience of people who don't know where they are supposed to vote from, let us get this voter location slip. As the word says, it is locating for you your polling station. So you get it in time, you see where you are going to vote from, so that on the day of polling or voting, you don't stray to another polling station, get into the line only to reach there and they say, excuse me, madam, your polling station is the other one. So this was to help voters know where they are supposed to vote in time. Now, the issue of the LC1 chairpersons, these were not the ones verifying our register. They would call the village council, and our parish supervisor will preside over those meetings, and then conduct sort of a roll call. Okay. Is this person a member of this village? Is this person a member of this village? Because we all want a clean voters register. What is the problem with a village verifying a register and saying we know this gentleman, we don't know this gentleman? So we thought it was to help all of us to have an improved voter register. District registrars becoming district election officers. Yes, a district registrar, it means somebody who is registering. But he does not do that. He goes ahead to conduct an election. So you are looking for a title that actually brings out the role of a district registrar, because he's registering people, he's conducting voter education, he's on radios, he's conducting elections, he's recruiting supervisors, he's recruiting other officials. So you can't be only a registrar. You are a district elections administrator. That is our proposal in the new amendments.
First hold it. I want us to go for a break right now, and then I will finish with you on that point, and then I get last words from all the panel members here, and then we close on that with that topic. But let's first go for a break right now.